Selamat datang di Bandung, a place that I'm really familiar with because I lived here for 12 years. I am in an area of Bandung called Cihampelas. Cihampelas is an area renowned for historically being a place where jeans were sold. It was called Jeans Street, I think, at one point, but lots of different clothing. For example, over the road there, I can see a leather shop. Got leather everything, jackets, hats, shoes, probably all handmade here in Bandung. I can see a ole shop, so they're just doing like crackers and chips and that sort of stuff. We've got a bag shop here, hello! And then, yeah, lots of different sort of clothes and stuff. Hello! Yay!
Bandung tiris?
Dingin. Ya betul. Cewek Bandung.
Gelis.
Girly! Betul sekali. So this is Bandung, and the people are so friendly here. My plan for tonight is just have a bit of a walk around because it's what they call malam Minggu, which is Saturday night. And Saturday night's a really popular time for people in Indonesia to get out and about, go on a date with their girlfriends, or maybe just go out and have a bite to eat. Even if it's really busy, people don't care. They're out there and experiencing and enjoying themselves out in the streets. I might move to an area of town that's quite central. This area in Cihampelas, a great place to stay if we ever come here. Lots of good hotels, lots of good shopping around here. But I'm going to go to a place called Braga now, which is the main tourist centre. But it's not very touristy. I'm going to go there and show you a little bit around there as well. So I've just zipped down to the central area of Bandung. And this building here is the Bank of Indonesia Bandung branch. It's like the Federal Reserve Bank of Indonesia. So it's not a commercial bank. And it's an old Dutch colonial building, and it is absolutely astonishing. It was built in 1918 as a branch of the Java Bank, run by the Dutch back in the day. And you can see just slightly over there, I'll try and enlarge it for you if I can. There's some stained glass windows over there, and it just looks phenomenal. It's just a wonderful, wonderful building. And Bandung is famous for its old colonial architecture, buildings that were probably built usually around the early 1900s, and there's so many buildings like that in Bandung. This is one of them. Absolutely beautiful. And you can have a really nice day out in Bandung just going around looking at old buildings if that's your thing, you know, if you like architecture and old turn of the century type buildings. If you don't, well, it might get pretty boring pretty quick. I'm just going to nick down here to the central tourist area. It's called Braga, Jalan Braga. Why is it the central tourist area? I don't know, but it seems to be where a lot of tourists go when they're here. Just nick across here, across the railway lines, across here before I fall in. There we go, beautiful. So we're getting closer now. This area actually has a lot of very old buildings, old commercial district, a lot of retail shops that are, again, the original Dutch buildings. So over here, I can see the road lined with these old Dutch buildings that are in okay shape, to be honest. Sometimes what will happen in a place like Bandung is they'll refurbish old buildings, do them up really nicely, then put a cafe in them or something like that. So it gives these buildings a new lease of life. That one there, beautiful stained glass windows again. Looks amazing, looks like an old theatre. And I'm sure it probably was. I'm sure it was. Around here, there's just heaps of buildings like that. Heaps of them. Another one, all the way down here. Although I've never been on this thing, it's called Bandung Tour on Bus. Bandros, they call it. That's what it's called. It's like a tour of the city, like a city tour bus that the government puts on. Oh, they've blocked off all the traffic on Jalan Braga, so it's like a walking street at the moment. Well, that's cool. I'm not sure if that just happens on... Oh no, the street's not blocked because there are cars coming down, but it's just filled with people. Well, that's pretty cool as well. This is one of those situations where in Indonesia, people power rules. If there's more people on your side doing something, you always win. Like it happens with motorbikes, sometimes going on the wrong side of the road or going down the wrong way down a one-way street. And this is the case here where it's just people walking down the middle of the road, blocking traffic because there's more of them. There's heaps more of them. Here we go. Another one of these old buildings. That one is an old bioskop or an old cinema, movie theatre. It's a beautiful looking design in there. It's now I think it's a little coffee shop. I've actually never seen it this busy down here. It is so chaotic. vibrant and alive. It feels amazing. Even if you're one of those people that loves the calmness of a rice field, you can't help but love a place like this. Beautiful old art cafe, Braga Art Cafe. Another one of those old colonial buildings turned into a cafe. Another one of those tour buses, Bandros. Bandros is actually the name of a food here, a snack food here in Bandung as well. So they call the bus after a snack food. It's a bit weird, but it's pretty cool too. For many years, this street was a little bit dead, a little bit run down. And it's nice to see this place so vibrant right now. I love it. And it's actually really interesting because Indonesians quite often do love this busyness. They will often flock to places where there are other people because they want to make it what we say ramai, yeah? Mari kita bikin ramai, yeah? Let's make it busy. That's what people like to do. That's what we're doing down here on Braga Street. Wow, it's brilliant. People taking photos, taking of themselves. That guy's selling heaps of cool hats. Look at all those. Great little selection of hats. If you see them sold in somewhere like Bali, they probably come from Bandung. Bandung's got a history of textiles. Massive textile industry in the south of Bandung. A lot of textile factories. It's not as busy as it once was with technology in a lot of other places, but it's still quite big. They make a lot of clothes for export around the world for all the big brands, all the sports brands, make jeans, that sort of thing. Actually, I was buying jeans at one point from Kmart and they were made in Bandung and I could get them cheaper in Kmart than I could actually in Bandung for some reason. That was weird. That was one of those anomalies where Kmart probably buys like 1 million pairs and then just sells them for almost cost price. Another saying that we have here in Bandung is that Cewek Bandung cantik-cantik. It's a weird thing where it's almost like a bit of a joke. So if I say to people that I'm married to an Indonesian and they say, oh, where's your wife from? Hello. And they say, where's your wife from? And I say Bandung. They always say, oh, Cewek Bandung cantik-cantik. Always is the way, or paling cantik, or something along those lines. It's a bit of a, I don't know, if we say that in the West, it's a little bit like misogynist. But here, not at all. Like, not at all. Totally fun and light-hearted and in good spirits. And I mean, I have a laugh at it. Doesn't bother me. And yeah, I mean, so that's one of those things that happens here in Indonesia as well, is that culture is different, and so people react in different ways to different things that people say. And it's not always offensive to say certain things. Over there you can see some live music playing, and that's pretty normal here in Bandung as well. So the basic story is that a lot of famous bands in Indonesia actually originated here in Bandung. There's a thriving art scene, a thriving music scene, and when you see live music like this, you see it all throughout the city, especially on Saturday nights, like all along the main intersections. There's big bands playing, and just out, they're almost like busking, but they've got the full drum kits and everything like that. Like, it's all electrified. It's not like simple busking in Pitt Street Mall. It's the real deal here, playing concerts and stuff. And so that's where a lot of the bands get their start. If they're any good, they move up from being a busker on the side of the road into having a record deal. The other thing that Bandung is famous for is its coffee shops. And I sometimes try and play it down a little bit because I get very excited by it. But honestly, it's one of the best cities in the world for coffee shops. But I really mean it. I've probably visited 350 coffee shops here. I used to review them a little bit as well back in the day, and just phenomenal the amount of coffee shops there are here, and they're always changing, always getting new ones, different styles, different beans, and that sort of stuff. I just love to go around and find new coffee shops all the time. And obviously in the past 2 years that I haven't been here, there will be a lot of new ones. There are heaps of hotels to stay in around this area as well. Very popular area to stay, decent hotels. These are little mini buses. They're angkots. They're angkot, angkutan kota. Yeah. So they're like a city transport. Angkutan is transport, yeah. And they're really still quite popular here. Not as popular as they used to be, but they're still like a main method of transport for a lot of people, especially at the lower end when you don't have a lot of money. A lot of people still do use those. So if you were ever going to come to somewhere like Bandung, like a Saturday night is a great time to come down here, honestly. I know that it probably could be very overwhelming for a lot of people, especially if you don't really know what you're doing or where you're going. But if you're happy just to soak the atmosphere in, like, it's pretty good. Look at those. They are roasted bananas, real big ones. Oh, they're frying them. They're frying those at a very low temperature, and then they're putting grated cheese on them. Cool, eh? Like, what an atmosphere. You can even get a beer down here as well. Like, there are particular shops where they will, or cafes where they will sell you a beer. It's not totally dry. Another old theatre looking building with just some fantastic stained glass windows and some old lights still going after all this time. It's amazing, actually. Over here we have another massive big building right at the end. I'll get down to it. Another famous Dutch building which is in great nick, honestly, great nick. It's now a commercial bank, but I think it used to be I'm not sure what it was in the past. I think it might have been a bank before as well. So the road we're getting down to is called Jalan Asia Afrika, and this is the Museum Conferentie Asia Afrika. Now, I'll explain a little bit what that means. The busker over here. Basically, what happened in the early to mid-50s, when Indonesia was sort of like newly independent, the leader of Indonesia, Sukarno, wanted to make sure that Indonesia was not aligned with all those imperialist countries, all the old European countries, America and that sort of stuff. Those countries which really took the soul out of Indonesia for so long. So what Sukarno did, he wanted to have a conference with all the countries that were not aligned with that imperialist sort of philosophy. And it was called the Asia Africa Conference. And famous leaders from all around the world came here to Bandung and had a meeting in here. And that's what we have today. The road's named after that conference, Jalan Asia Afrika, Asia Afrika, and then that there is your museum as well, celebrating that famous time. So on the top of that, the old Dutch writing's still there. One of them says import and one says Warenhuis, which obviously means warehouse. So it was an old warehouse of some sort. I got my history wrong, but it's a bank now, but it's still in great nick. So as we walk along Jalan Asia Afrika, this is another area where a lot of people, youngsters particularly, come down on a Saturday night and get their photos taken in front of these sorts of buildings, yeah? Because they're all the old colonial buildings and it looks cool to get your photos taken in front of them. And of course, after people started getting their photos taken with their phone, then photographers spring up and ask, hey, do you want me to take your photo? It'll cost you, I can print it out for you or send it to you by email and it'll cost you X amount of money. There's all these scary looking people dressed up here. Oh, there's a nun, look at that, that's pretty cool. Hello. The devil. Another one, oh, a dragon. Australia, where do you come from? Asli Bandung.
Asli Bandung.
Oh, kumaha damang.
Oh, damang.
Damang.
Tiasa bahasa Sunda.
Tertiasa. Tertiasa.
Oh, Tiasa.
Where are you come from? Australia.
Australia.
Wow.
Do you live? Hotel.
Dulu aku tinggal di Bandung, sekarang tinggal di Bali. Tapi aku 12 tahun di sini dulu. Konten kreator sekarang.
Influencer.
Oh, bukan influencer. Aku tidak punya influence.
Ini berapa hari holiday? Ini berapa hari?
Kenapa? Berapa hari? Di sini di Bandung 3 malam, tapi mau lanjut ke selatan, misalnya Garut, Tasik dan Pangandaran.
Traveling.
Ya.
Okay.
Ya.
Kalian ya, Mister. Mister nggak akan foto dulu sama kita?
Ya, nggak punya duit kecil.
Apa? Punyanya uang besar.
Ya, makasih ya.
Sampai bertemu.
Oh, panjangnya.
Single. Salam dari
Jomblo.
dari cewek Bandung, Mister, banyak.
Cewek Bandung.
Cewek Bandung janda. Sini terdepan, Mister.
Aduh. Hello, Spider Man. There you go. They're the sorts of jokes we have around Indonesia about things like cewek Bandung. I mean, it's not offensive. It's normal, isn't it? Yeah. So there we go. I love it down here. Such a good atmosphere as well. Those guys normally, if you go and get your photo taken with them, you give them a few thousand for their troubles, that sort of stuff. Look at that. Wow, look at that. That person hasn't got a head on. Yeah. Oh yeah, foto dulu. Ya, berapa?
Segelas ya.
Oh yeah.
Nuker berapa?
I'm going to get my photo taken with these ones over here. Look at that. That is a great costume. This one is actually smoking.
Great.
Oh yeah.
Foto.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Bisa.
Foto bareng.
Oke, foto.
Ah. Woo! Ini video.
Lagi. Oh.
Ah, gila. Wow, you're pretty scary.
Harus dong.
Yeah.
Kocak.
Oh, this is wild down here. Woo! Crazy, ya.
Oh ya. Halo, jangan lupa ke sini ya, Besti.
That's scary. I'm scared. Makasih, ya.
Thank you.
Oh, these people are crazy out here. I just gave 5,000 of those people because each one of them because they're nice people, you know, and it's just, I don't know, it's just so fun. Yeah, one of the things in Indonesia is the thing about dead people and scary things and ghosts. And what the story is that Indonesian people love it and hate it at the same time. They're very scared, they're very mystical, but they love to just get their photo taken with them, and they love scary movies and scary books and that sort of stuff. You see it all the time, and I love that aspect of Indonesia. So in this video, occasionally people will speak a bit of Sundanese to me, and I don't understand Sundanese. So, I've gone the wrong way here. I don't understand Sundanese, so some things I won't be able to translate for you because it's too complicated for me. Most of the time it's Indonesian, but yeah, occasionally they'll, like that guy said, oh, do you speak Sundanese? And I said, I can't. And then someone else said something else, and yeah. But as long as you're all having a bit of a laugh, doesn't really matter, does it? So that is the main mosque here in Bandung, those two towers over there. I always reckon they look like air traffic control towers, but they're not. It's part of the main mosque, and in front of it is what they call the alun-alun, the main square. Every town in Java especially, but in most places that are a Muslim place, will have an alun-alun, a central square. Usually there will be a main mosque there as well. That's pretty standard, you know. So, and usually there's a lot of activity there as well. So if you're always, if you want to find activity in a place, go down to the alun-alun, you'll always find it. Just cross the road over here to the alun-alun, see if I can get across without getting bowled over. Hello. Here we go. There we go, I'm across. That is a notoriously dangerous part, even when you're driving. Okay, we're here. So one of the things about Bandung is that because it's elevated about 600 to 800 metres above sea level, depending on where you are in the town, it's cooler here. So right now, it's probably, I'm guessing, probably 24 degrees. It's not cold, but when the breeze sort of hits you a little bit, you get the slightest chill on your arms, but not cold. If you go up the hill a little bit, there are places up the hill that you can go and visit and enjoy. Places like Lembang. It is noticeably colder up there. They are big towns, but they're a little bit colder, and you might need sort of a light long sleeve shirt or something like that just to keep the chill off your arms. Nothing too intense. So in this area, there's lots of jajanan. Yeah, that's cireng. Interesting. Oh, hang on, but that's not cireng. Oh, cireng isi. Ah, cireng isi. Cireng's like a, how do I explain it? Tapioca flour which has been fried. That one's then made into a pouch and filled it with things like chicken. Heaps of different things around here. You've got ketan bakar, which is sticky rice which has been grilled. Pretty simple stuff. You might have a little bit of sauce on it as well, or some other topping, depends what that particular seller has. Batagor is a classic Bandung dish. Batagor is bakso tahu goreng. Yeah, so bakso, we know what that is, the meatballs. Tahu, we know what that is. That's tofu, and goreng means fried. So it's that all together, and then they just fry it, and that's a classic Indonesian, a classic Bandung snack that everyone, when they come to Bandung, you got to get that. I think it's got peanut sauce on it as well. Just come to the main mosque here in Bandung, And this guy called me over and he wanted to say hello. Bapak, namanya siapa?
Denny.
Denny was telling me that he worked in Bali before. Jadi Pak, dulu kerja di Bali.
Ya.
Bagian apa? Keamanan.
Ya.
Di bar dan hotel atau
Ya,
apa?
Hotel dan bar.
Hotel dan bar. Dan waktu itu uangnya oke aja.
Oke aja.
Ya. Dan balik ke sini kapan?
Setelah bom Bali.
Bom Bali. Dan asli Bandung.
Enggak, asli saya Jogja.
Oh, Jogja. Kenapa pindah ke Bandung, Pak?
Ke Bandung karena saya banyak rekan di Bandung masih yang banyak dinas.
Banyak dinas.
Di Angkatan Udara,
Oh.
militer.
Oh ya? Bapak
Ya.
militer?
Ya, dulu.
Oh,
Militer.
wow.
Ya.
Wow, Bapak militer. Dan kalau Bapak baru keluar dari masjid, kenapa? Baru selesai apa? Doa atau gimana?
Saya ikut ngurus di sini.
Urus masjid.
Iya. Ya di sukarelawan.
Ya.
Sukarelawan.
Kalau mereka butuh bantuan, Bapak bantu.
Ya.
Ini ramai sekali malam minggu ini ya, Pak?
Malam Minggu ya.
Ya.
Sayangnya alun-alun belum dibuka
Kenapa?
karena habis renovasi.
Oh, dulu aku ingat kalau rumput itu yang itu dulu itu dihancurin orang karena apa? Nggak peduli mungkin.
Ya, sini udah 3 kali ganti.
3 kali.
Ya.
Wow. Ya. Oke, Pak.
Oke, thank you.
Thank you ya, Pak.
Sama-sama.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh, that's interesting. So that grass over there, that fake grass, that's interesting. I remember when that was put down, like, so they put that down and then opened up to the public, and like that first weekend they put it down and opened it up, I remember the mayor going crazy because it was just ripped to shreds by people just not respecting it. And the guy was just saying it's been replaced 3 times already, and it's just been replaced now, and they still haven't opened it up for the public. But I'm sure they're probably a little bit more careful now about what people do on the grass. I mean, you know, people like throwing cigarettes down and burning and that sort of stuff. Yeah, which is a bit sad. You know, I think it used to be just like dirt and stuff because the grass would never grow because it got trampled on so much. So we are still walking around here in central Bandung. It's about 8 o'clock at night. Perfect time to come out actually. Families are still around. The older people are still out having fun. It's not a very big drinking place here in Bandung, but some people do drink. And just because you're Muslim doesn't mean you can't drink. It's just that most people choose not to. So there are some drinking establishments here. There are bars. There are places you can go and get a beer and it's just a normal cafe. You know, they're not that fanatical about it. I'm on a little walking street now. Yeah. It's like a bit of a walking street at the moment. A lot of shouting, but they've got a lot of sales going on. They've got all these shirts. Ole apa? Yeah.
Later.
No, thank you. No, thanks. They got all this here, all these hats. Great selection. Makasih ya. Yeah. Good people around here, isn't that? Good people. Oh, they've got a Macca's over here as well. I didn't know there was a McDonald's around here. That just goes to show, if you come to a place like this and you're freaking out because you don't know anything about the food or the language or anything like that, come out of your hotel, which could be a 5-star hotel like the Hilton or something like that, because they've got really good hotels here. Come down to the Macca's, get a cheeseburger, and you don't have to freak out anymore. But I assure you, and this is the case for most people, is that you come to a place like this and yeah, you might be shocked at first because it's so different to what you're used to. But once you get used to it, it's actually okay. You try a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Things are so cheap here, you know, food prices and so forth. Just dirt cheap. Everything's cheap here. And there's lots of good food. Mas ya, satu ya. Berapa?
2.500.
Okay. This is kue ape.
Lagi Pak, nggak apa-apa satu lagi.
Nggak.
Ada receh.
Nggak usah, 5.000. Oke.
Oke, nggak apa-apa. Kasih ya.
Yeah, nggak apa-apa. Just a bit of confusion there. Basically, these are 2,500 each. I gave him 10,000, and he's saying he hasn't got change because people don't buy one. And he didn't know whether I wanted 5 back or whether I was going to buy 2 of them or what it was. I'll show you what these are like. These are interesting. So these are a classic thing here. They use a batter to make sort of a pancake thing, in that shape, and it's got a bit of pandan in it. Let's try it out. Flavour's good. A bit dry, but no, it's just a bit of a snack anyway. Actually really good.
Hello, mister.
Oh, hello.
Please come here. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Yeah,
Please welcome to the sana. What are you looking for? Maybe you did something.
Jalan-jalan.
Oh, jalan-jalan.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Sabah, Australia.
Australia. Oh,
Australia, okay.
Thank you.
Cute little cake though. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're a cute little ginger. Cute little ginger. In my housing complex, when we used to live in Bandung, it was really strange. The strays in that housing complex were almost always ginger. So there was just like this ginger clan that used to sweep through. And we had all sorts of different names for these cats over the years. Ginger flu, we had ginger balls, we had all sorts of different names from all the ginger names. And that cat just reminded me of one of the cats that we used to feed and de-sex when we lived in Bandung. So cute. I've just stepped slightly away from that main tourist area. And when I say tourist area, I'm not talking like Bali tourism. I'm talking about where people go and hang out. And that might be local tourists from Bandung as well, or they're just going there to hang out for tonight. And this is what it's sort of like in Bandung when it's not malam Minggu, Saturday night, and it's not a busy day and you're out of that tourist area. It's sort of like this. It's quite well lit. It's a little bit like, I mean, you might say it's a little bit run down, but it's got a lot of character, like a lot of character. You feel something when you're here. You feel like you're alive, and that's one of the good things about being in Indonesia is that you feel alive when you're here. It's just everything coming at you at once. And you've just got to take it in, let it come at you. And if you don't like it, sometimes you've got to let it wash over you. Don't get frustrated or life will be miserable. And if you go on a holiday and you end up at a place like this that you don't initially enjoy, it's sometimes difficult to get your head right so that you can start enjoying it again. And I guess one of the strategies I would say is keep trying, keep going out there, getting out of your comfort zone, speaking to people. People are very nice. Try a bit of food. And you might come away from it thinking, oh, I didn't really love it and I don't think I need to go there again. But you will have memories for a lifetime because it's such an intriguing and interesting place. When you speak to a lot of Indonesians, they'll say something like they feel safe in a place like Sydney, but they don't feel safe in a place like Bandung. And when you speak to a lot of Australians, they will say something like, I feel safe in Bandung, but I do not feel safe in Sydney. And I'm one of those Australians that actually feels quite safe here. I've never really felt unsafe here before. It's not one of those places where you feel like you're going to be mugged. It can happen for sure, but it doesn't feel like that's going to happen. It just doesn't feel like that kind of place. It feels, because it's so vibrant and lively most of the time, it doesn't feel like you're going to get robbed. Now, if you're out at like 3 a.m. in a bit of a dodgy area, well, you've got to be careful, you know, but it's not like Sydney. Like if you get in the wrong place in Sydney at 3 a.m, you're in trouble. This old rundown building here has loads of character. And what someone's actually done to it is they've bought the building and allowed that graffiti and everything to stay there, but they've renovated the inside. And that place there is called Blue Doors. And the coffee there is some of the best in Bandung. A really fantastic coffee shop. They're actually more expensive for coffee than a lot of places. And even when I was living here, I used to be a little bit reluctant to go there because the coffee prices were a little bit high. They're not like Seminyak type prices, but for Bandung, they're just a little bit higher. But if you were coming here, like you'd have to go to Blue Doors. Absolutely brilliant coffee. A wonderful building, an old building, which they've left all the character on the outside and just renovated the inside. And that's just the way to do it, isn't it? This is Jalan Al-Katiri that I'm on actually. And it's one of the well-known old school streets in Bandung. It's not extremely popular, but if you know about this place, you do come here every now and then to get maybe a noodle thing, or you might go to, there's an old coffee shop up here called Warung Kopi Purnama, old coffee shop. Just heaps of character. Look at this one. Yeah, look at that. Look at that thing. Just old school coffee shop. Just, yeah, this is the character. So you would go to somewhere like that. Now, that's the sort of place that I would go to every now and then. This is just one of the central Bandung's famous old streets. But no visitors here, because it's not really what people are into tonight. They're over at Braga and they're on Asia Afrika. That's the kind of scene. Feels pretty quiet. Bandung is a city of, I was about to say 3 million, but there's no point saying that because measuring the population is quite difficult because it depends on what you class as Bandung, whether you take in just the administrative area of the city of Bandung or whether you start including some of the satellite areas as well. But needless to say, there are a lot of people here. It's, I think, number 4 or 5 in terms of the biggest cities in Indonesia. So it's not a mega city like Jakarta, but it does have a lot of big city failings as well, such as traffic. Traffic's a nightmare here. You might be asking yourself, if you love Bandung so much, why did you leave? And it's a good question because I do love it. But to live in a place like this sometimes becomes difficult. And number one for me was traffic. I could have probably moved to a place that had better traffic situations. That's a nice building, isn't it? 1921, that building is built. I could have moved to a place with better traffic. Air pollution was starting to get pretty bad here as well. Because we sit in a valley, the air doesn't really move out of there. So if there's a fire or something like that, it just settles in the valley and it doesn't get that windy here either. So you don't get wind whipping through and moving it out of the way. The climate here is actually really pleasant, really pleasant. It's just maybe 4 degrees cooler than Bali or Jakarta. It's not cold, but it's just pleasant, you know. So there's a lot about this place that's actually ticks a lot of boxes for a lot of people. But long term, can you make a go of it? Well, I did 12 years, so I did all right. But long term, for me, not really happening. What I miss about this place compared to Bali is the realness of it. So when you live in Bali, of course, because of the tourist infrastructure, you miss a lot of the local stuff. It's harder to dig into it. And so that's why I do nick into Denpasar every now and then, is to get some of that rough and tumble, the bit of realness, the grittiness, the grottiness, the cheapness as well. It's much cheaper when you go to local places. That's sort of how I'm feeling about it, you know. The other thing is that you can get inside your head about these things as well. What happened to us is that we sort of said, oh, one day we should go and move to Bali. We sort of said that, I don't know, 2019 or something like that. Like before COVID, we sort of said it. And we sort of set that as a target of something to do one day. And then COVID happened and then it got delayed. And at some point you just go, yeah, we've got to do it. If we don't do it now, we're never going to do it. We're going to be old and still living where we are. And even though we were relatively happy in Bandung, I think we're happier now in Bali. Maybe the change is as good as a holiday. I'm journeying through West Java at the moment. I'm back in Bandung for a few days, few nights. I'm going to go further south into West Java. I haven't booked anything yet, but the plan is to go and explore a little bit in West Java and see what's going on and maybe show you what it's like out here from my perspective, what I've experienced and how I like to travel around the place. And maybe it'll be of interest to you. So make sure you stick around for my following videos because I've got a lot more to come here in West Java. Thanks for coming along for the ride today, and thank you to all the members who have recently signed up. Really appreciate your support. It really helps making these videos and gives me a bit of encouragement to keep going. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur, the rest of Indonesia, and a bit of West Java as well. I'll catch you next time, and sampai jumpa.